Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So about a year ago, I found a little vinyl toy that was a vintage Macintosh computer. But it was like 30 or 40 bucks, and I just couldn't come around to spending that money. And about a week ago, I saw an Instagram artist who I follow, Spidonky, and they did a little vintage illustration of a Macintosh computer. Now, I'm a graphic designer by trade, my day job, yes, I guess you would say. And I thought, I kind of want to make one of those. So I've got some polystyrene, and I went ahead and I'm going to go and lay out the Macintosh design on the computer. I have a vinyl cutter, and I'm going to see if I can cut this polystyrene with my vinyl cutter. Let's see if it works. Come on. Okay, so here's my files in Illustrator. I just laid out my design, and then I went to my brother's Scan and Cut. I found this at a yard sale for I can't remember, it was like 70 bucks or something like that. So I put the file in, and it just cut right through this with no problem. It didn't cut all the way through, it actually scored it. But with the polystyrene, what you do is once you score it, you can just snap that stuff super easy, so it's really nice to work with. Here's a little trick that I learned from Adam Savage Tested. If you're trying to cut out a window, just cut a little X in the middle, and then you can break it out from the sides. You don't have to deal with trying to tweak the other pieces. So I actually cut 4 of these. So I marked them 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we stack them up, I'm hoping that this will give me the bevel for the monitor itself. So my goal is to either sand it or do something with that. So I'm going to glue that together and see if I can get that to work. Now it's just starting to glue and piece this thing together. This was a lot of just learning. Like, I've never done this before. So I've got my BSI medium gap fill glue. This stuff is amazing. Works way better than super glue for me. So again, this is just kind of the tedious construction part. Little vents on the side of the computer. I did in Illustrator make some little rectangles to score it, but they were so small, so I had to kind of really carefully go in there and cut and punch them out, but in the end it looked okay. Now on the back of the computer, there's almost some dimension to it, so I actually did 2 layers here, and you can see I'm gluing the top layer, and then I'll lay that down on top of the other layer, and then this is in the back area. I'll cut out a little hole for the switch, so more gluing. So I'm not super concerned with extra glue seeping out, because I'm going to do a good round of sanding and clean this all up. And then you'll see coming up here, the top piece there, it's actually a little bit bigger. I'm just going to snip that off and sand it down. The second piece I actually got trimmed down a little bit better, and it fit really nice. So here's the beveled edge. I'm actually just filling that entire section with super glue, and then taking some baking soda, and the baking soda actually cures it really fast and just makes this really nice hard beveled edge. So this actually worked pretty great. Actually, not super glue, but my BSI. And I'm going to give that a sand, and it actually filled that gap pretty decently. At the very end, after I primed it and painted it, I did notice a couple of weird little bubbles and hiccups that I probably should have cleaned up a little bit more, but all in all, worked out pretty nice. So as I was building this, I remembered my Tamiya thin set glue. It's actually for polystyrene models, which this is essentially the same material, so this actually turned out really nice. So I needed something for the screen, so I found this food container, and I just cut a little window out, and I think this is going to work perfect. Now I'm just doing some heavier sanding with a little bit stronger grit, and it's taken off the ridge of all of the rough edges. And then I got my wet sand out, and I gave it a good wet sand so it's nice and smooth, and it got rid of all those deep gouges. So once I primed it, it looked great. Now I got it all cleaned up, wet sanded. This thing is ready to prime and paint. So I went ahead and primed and painted it, but I kind of ran into a major issue. It was like 30 degrees outside, and my paint actually froze as it was coming out. and made like this sand texture. So I had to go in and scrape all of it off. I had spent way too much time on this to just scrap it. So I'm getting some fingernail polish, and I just cleaned this whole bad boy off. And trust me, I was pretty frustrated, but it was my own dumb fault for trying to spray paint in 30-degree weather. Thank you, Colorado. Okay, I got it all cleaned off. It's ready to paint and prime again. I'm going to drill some little holes for the arms. I'm going to go ahead and use a little vinyl figure Kid Robot toy that I have. Okay, so I've used these tea lights a couple times, but they're pretty weak, and I wanted a bright white light, so I went to the Dollar Tree. I got this LED flashlight, and I just took it apart. I do need to go online and order some LEDs, so I have them in my arsenal. I just haven't got around to it, so just trying to figure out which side is a positive, which side is a negative. I mark it with a marker because I'll forget. I'm not super great at this stuff here, so I'm kind of learning, but get it soldered and ta-da, it worked. That's awesome. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking apart the switch because I want to glue this into the back of the computer, but I need to make an extension of the wire that leads to the switch. So just doing a little bit more soldering, and it works again. Here I am just gluing it in, and now I'll be able to switch that off and on. I'm going to make a little frame so I can hold the base of the legs, but before that I need to glue this little black piece of polystyrene, and that'll just block off the vents there. So that looks pretty nice. So I'm back to building my little frame, and I'm just using some polystyrene tubing, and this will allow the legs to sit nice and flush inside so I can open it, change the batteries if I need. So I'm drilling some little holes here because I want to put some magnets so the legs will hold and stick. So what I'm going to do is magnets just in the two corners, and then I glued some washers in the other two corners just so it was evenly balanced. Then I put the washer on the magnet, I'm super gluing it, and then I'll drop that on there. So now it'll glue on nice. You can see the two washers, the two magnets. It lines up really nice, and now I can pull it off and on and change the batteries when I need to. Alright, let's call this one good. Okay, it's done, and it's not perfect, but I did learn a lot through this one. I've never built anything with polystyrene, so I would have done some little bit different things with the finish work. It's not quite as clean as I would have wanted it to be. I'm not really great with electronics, but this is like my third or fourth playing with LEDs, and I'm kind of messing around a little bit more, so growing there. And even though it's not perfect and I don't love it as much as I could, it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted, but in the end I grew, and that's part of being a maker. So, you know, move on to the next one. As always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.